Hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to Hitchcock Month, part of my double feature retro review series that I'm doing all year. 2 weeks ago I reviewed Rear Window, my favorite of his movies and my 6th favorite film of all time. So today I'm going to be reviewing a movie of his that I have not seen until now, and that's Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca, which came out in 1940 and was basically his big American debut. The movie follows an unnamed woman played by Joan Fontaine, who is recently engaged to and marries Maxim de Winter. He's played by the great Laurence Olivier, and the character of Maxim is somebody who had just recently lost his previous wife, Rebecca, before the events of this movie. So when the new de Winter arrives to the Maxim estate, she has this eerie feeling that Rebecca still lives within this environment. At least her presence is still very much there. And as we go through the course of the movie, we get to learn more about Rebecca and her marriage with Maxim, and that there may be a more sinister past to these two characters. Like I said earlier, this movie is often regarded as the big American debut for Alfred Hitchcock. Prior to this film, he has made several movies in the UK, so it's not like he's a newcomer or anything, but this was the movie that really made everybody recognize Hitchcock for the director that he is. And this is also famous for being the only Hitchcock movie to win Best Picture, but David O. Selznick, the producer, took the Oscar, not Hitchcock. And for whatever reason, I just never got around to this movie. And I think that's because I had to get the essential films out of the way when watching Hitchcock. And the thing is, most of these movies were distributed through Universal, or at least not initially, like Rear Window, which was originally distributed through Paramount, but later in life, they were through Universal. So I had to watch some of the essential movies, like Birds, Shadow of a Doubt, Rear Window, The Trouble with Harry, those kinds of movies. And now that I've finally watched Rebecca, I can safely say that this isn't my favorite Hitchcock movie. Not by a long shot, but it's still really good. Right away, the reason I don't think this is one of my favorite Hitchcock movies is the same reason why a lot of people don't really single out Spartacus as one of their favorite Stanley Kubrick movies. Because it feels like a movie from a director who has yet to find his identity. Because we all recognize Kubrick for 2001, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Eyes Wide Shut, those kinds of movies. And we identify Hitchcock for Rear Window, North by Northwest, Vertigo, and Psycho. But Rebecca is clearly a movie where he was a hired director to do this film. It feels more like a David O. Selznick production rather than a straightforward Alfred Hitchcock movie. But again, that doesn't mean that this is bad at all. I mean, there's a reason why this won Best Picture the year it came out. And even then, with this not being 100% Hitchcock, you can definitely see a little hint of what's to come in his career. There's a mysterious element to some of the characters. There's some suspenseful sequences, especially between the second de Winters and Mrs. Danvers, the caretaker of the estate. Like, those sequences are very chilling. And Judith Anderson, who plays Mrs. Danvers, is so good at being this creepy housekeeper who just wants to get this new woman out of Maxim's life. And even with Maxim himself, he has a lot of moments where he's unpredictable, he lashes out at times, he seems like a nervous wreck, but Laurence Olivier is probably the last person you would think to have those moments. You wouldn't suspect that he's had a troubled past or could be considered a creep, which, if I'm going to go to the 2020 remake that I reviewed when it came out, one of the big reasons that movie doesn't work, and maybe it's not the movie's fault, but Armie Hammer just screams creepiness the second you see him. He's not charming at all, he doesn't have charisma, and the reason I say that it's not the movie's fault is because it came out around the same time that we found out Armie Hammer has a cannibal fetish. So that's unfortunate. But putting that aside, I just think Laurence Olivier sells this role a lot better. And Joan Fontaine is also really good in this movie as well. She has this very innocent nature about herself. She starts to get a little suspicious about the secrets of Maxim de Winter and what his life was before she came into the picture. But there are also points where you can tell that she's trying to be her own person. She's not trying to replace Rebecca in any way. As much as Miss Danvers seeds into her head, you will never replace Rebecca. Speaking of Rebecca, we never see her in this movie, but you can definitely feel her presence because there's a chilling feeling throughout the entire movie. Thanks to the amazing production design and the award-winning cinematography, you just get this creepy feeling throughout that Rebecca still haunts these walls, and it just leads to a very intriguing movie. There was not a second in this film where I found myself bored. And even though I saw the remake before seeing this movie, it still caught me off guard at certain moments. And I just thought to myself, yeah, this is a really, really good movie. If I had any issues with this film, I'd say that the ending is very abrupt. Like, it just kind of cuts out at the end. There's this big thing that happens, and then the end screen pops up. It didn't ruin the movie at all, but it just felt kind of last minute. And regardless of that ending, this is still a movie that is very expertly made. It's well shot. The sets are fantastic. I love seeing these huge grand scale sets from the 1940s, and just seeing this film in glorious black and white is astounding. The actors do a fantastic job. It has a great pace to it. The score is fantastic. And overall, it's a movie that is worth seeing in your lifetime. If you're going through Hitchcock's filmography, this is one of the essential films. Again, it's not among my favorite of his movies, but it's still a requirement to watch, and still incredible nonetheless. And there you go. That's my review for Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca. I hope you enjoyed it. And this concludes Hitchcock Month in this double feature retro review series. I'll be back in the second Wednesday of February to tackle my next double feature series, and that's Best Picture Month. And I'll just tell you the movies that I'm reviewing right now. It's going to be the original West Side Story, which I've been dying to review ever since the Spielberg version came out. And speaking of Spielberg, I will also be reviewing Schindler's List, which is a movie of his that I never got around to. Again, this is keeping up with the theme of reviewing one movie that I have seen and then another that I have not seen. So I hope you guys tune in for Best Picture Month. But until then, I want to know what you guys think about Rebecca. If you've seen it, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. If you want to find me elsewhere on YouTube, you can go check out my theme park channel, Alexander Robinson Travel Channel, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.